Hey, you guys, it's your girl Cassandra with Pecan Porch Boutique. I am back with another Tales from the Thrift for y'all. So, come on, y'all, let's just jump right on in to project number one. Y'all know I love me a crock by now. Y'all should know that by now. And one with the lid, that's even better. So I found this little crock jug. It's really like one of those little, I guess you put lemonade or something in it because it had this little spout to go with it. Well, I found it at Goodwill. I don't know, I think I paid like $6 for it. And y'all know I couldn't resist picking it up. So I want to turn this into like an old looking jug or crock that was hand painted, kind of peeling off. So let's get started and see if I accomplish that. I'm going to start out with some of Paint Couture's priming bonder. It's really good for slick things so that your paint will stick and not peel off. That's what I'm doing right here. Once my bonding primer is all dry, now I can start with my paint. I did do 2 coats of the bonding primer. That is what they recommend if you're using chalk style paint. Now I'm gonna start with some DIY Sandy Blonde. I love Sandy Blonde. Maybe because my nickname is Sandy? I don't know. No, it's just a really nice kind of a tan color. So I kind of want this sandy blonde color to be my background color once I put on my top color. So I'm just going to get that on. It's going on really nicely over that bonding primer. And I am just going to do 1 coat. Next up is DIY's French Millinery. I love this color too, y'all. It's kind of like a light, a really light lavender kind of color. That's going to be my top coat. But I'm using a chip brush to put this coat on because I still want some of that sandy blonde in the background to peek through. I did not want to have to do a wet distress to get that color back. So I'm just using a chip brush because a chip brush has those spread out bristles. It worked perfectly, and I'm just not putting on a lot of paint, just kind of skimming over the top, and it's leaving enough of a gap to allow that sandy blonde color to come through. And next, I'll be using IOD's inlay from this past summer, and this one is called, what is it called? It is called Alfred Peets and Co. inlay. It's really pretty, y'all, and I think this is going to be perfect for the hand painted look. So I'm just going to trim it up, trim it off, and just get it to where I can kind of get it to fit on the front. I'm just doing the front of this crock. I will not do the back or the sides. I'm going to be using DIY's liquid patina to put down my inlay. So I'm just going to lay my inlay into my liquid patina. I'll start by brushing on a generous amount right in the area that I want to lay my inlay. Now, again, this I want to look like an old crock had been hand painted, where now some of the paint is peeling. So when I lay the inlay down, I'm going to leave the wrinkles. I'll do a little bit of cutting just to kind of make it fit around this curved surface, but I'm going to leave the wrinkles just so that I can get more of that hand painted look where some of the paint inlay isn't going to come all the way off and some of it will come off. But I am going for that old crock look, hand painted look. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just going to cut around some areas. I'm going to lay my inlay into that medium, which is liquid patina. You can use any water-based top coat for this process. And once I get that cut, then I will just start to smooth it down with my hands. Then I will take my mixture bottle, spritz it, and then I will press it down once again into that medium. Now that I have it laid down into my liquid patina, I will take my mixture bottle and I'll spritz it again, and then I will continue to just kind of press it into that liquid patina, just pushing it down, making sure that I have good contact between the inlay and the liquid patina. Everything is all dry now, and I did let it dry a little longer than usual because I typically don't let my inlay sit into the top coat very long. But I did this time purposely because I kind of want to peel back some of the paint even. Again, I'm going for this old world hand painted croc look where it has aged and maybe some of the paint has peeled off. So I'm just going to mist it once again with my mister bottle, and then I'll just take a dry paper towel, dampen up some of that excess water, and then I can start to peel back. And you can see that it did not come off easily. I pulled off some of it really well in a big chunk, but then I had to go back and peel off the other pieces. But that's okay. I think it came out just the way I want it. You guys will take a look on the end and you tell me what you think. All right, y'all, take a look back. What do you think? Did I take this little crock from lemons to lemonade? Let me know what you think. I did get some peeling paint. It looks kind of old, hand painted, like some of the hand painting has worn off. I also did some of the little inlay around the top. I really like how this turned out. You guys tell me what you think. All right, we are moving on to project number 2. I also forgot to say that I did add on there where the little spout was on that jug. I had a little resin casting that I put over that hole. All right, but this project, y'all, I found this little kind of standing frame at Goodwill. I think it was like $4. And I want to turn this into kind of like a mixed media picture. Standing picture. So I'm going to start out with DIY's Prom Queen. That's what I'm going to do the framing in, and I'm just going to do kind of like a scratch coat. So when I say scratch coat, I kind of mean like not a heavy coat, just kind of a skip coat, you know, with some of that metal brass or not brass, that metal still showing through. So that's what I'm doing with the Prom Queen. I'm just going to go over that metal part with that color. And then for this street scene, which I actually like the street scene inside this picture, but I'm going to be doing something different, so I covered it up. And for that, I'm using DIY's beadboard. Once I got the white down painted and my frame is all painted now, I am going to be using a scrap of recycled paper called Industrial Masterboard. And I'm going to be laying that down inside of the framed area with my DIY liquid patina. So I'll start out with just an anchor strip of the liquid patina. I'll take a piece of my cling wrap. I will lay that down and then press it into the liquid patina. And I'll do that in sections all the way to the end of this little square area here. Once I've got it all laid down, then I will come back with that same liquid patina and I will seal over that entire paper. So while my paper dries in the frame, I'm going to be moving on to making some molds. I'll be using Amazing Casting Resin. It's a 2-part resin. You mix part A with part B, stir it until it gets clear, and then you can pour it into your mold. Now, I'll be using IOD's Bookish mold for this particular project. So I'm just going to mix up my resin and then I'll pour it into my molds. Wait until it gets white and dry. When it's not warm to touch anymore, it'll be ready to pop out of the mold. I always keep an extra mold handy when I'm doing resin molds because I don't want to waste this resin, y'all, because it's high. And child, you know, we want to get the most out of things that we pay money for. So once I got the molds casted of the Bookish mold, I popped them out and now I'm just using various colors to paint them up. I think I used Little Black Dress. I used some Monet's Garden, which is that deep green. I used some Mint Chip, which is that lighter green. And I used some Summer Crush, which is that orange color. And I'm just going to get them painted, let them dry, and then I'm just going to start adding elements to it. This is very personal. I didn't film all of the elements that I added to these because it would have taken so long. But I got them all added on. I got them sealed up with the DIY liquid patina, and now I'm just going to add a rose transfer, and I think this came from maybe the Madeleine transfer. I can't remember. So I'm going to add a transfer right down here. You'll see that that's what I'm doing to add to my little mixed media project. And that was it for that project, y'all. Take a look back at this cute little frame. It was cute to begin with, but take a look now. Oh, I really love how this came out, y'all, with the prom queen around the frame area. And see, I added some little rose molds. That's what I used that extra resin for. But I really liked how this project turned out. I hope you do too. All right, let's move on to project number 3. I also got this little board at Goodwill. It was actually new, and it said like popsicle board. It's one of those boards that come from like Hobby Lobby, back in the area where you can get the wood that's just new. I think it's called the wood pile area, and you can get this new wood with, you know, just blank wood pieces. So I'll start out by using some of Sweet Pickens Extra Bond. I want to get some little crackle, maybe some cracks, things like that. So I'll start out with the Extra Bond, and I'm going to get it all over this board. And I don't know what those two areas were that you can see in there. I don't know if it has something on it. I don't know. Anyway, I just overlooked those and I went right on to painting this in beadboard. And you can see up on the handle where I made those extra molds with my resin while I was doing the Bookish mold. And I just put those on the handle. I think these molds are from IOD's, maybe the Roses mold that's been discontinued. I can't remember. But I made those extra because I always want to make extra so I don't waste my resin. So I'm going to be painting that area in IOD's Blue Iris. And then once that's done, now I'm coming back with that same IOD inlay, Alfred Peets & Co. And I'm going to be laying it down over the bigger part of this board. And I'm just using liquid patina. I'm kind of using it as if I were laying down decoupage paper. I'll start with the starter strip. I'll lay it into that starter strip, and I'll move down the board until I get it all laid down. So I did not let this dry very long, and because I didn't, I was able to peel it back without even adding water to it. So here I am just starting to peel that back now, and I'm already loving how this is coming out. It peeled back so easily, and it peeled back whole, so that means that I can use this again if I want to. So I'm just peeling this back, and you can see how beautiful these inlays are and how well they lay into both paint and top coat. Once my inlay was all down, I decided to be extra, which I can be from time to time. So I've added some extra elements like some transfers. I also added a couple of stencils, some stamps by IOD, all to bring this to another multimedia type piece. So once those were all down, I went over it with some Sweet Pickins dark oil wax. I added a little of the gold metallic wax paste by Pentart onto the roses molds on the handles. And this little board was finished, y'all. I just think it turned out really pretty. Tell me what you think. All right, here's a moment to look back at our plain Jane little popsicle board with the weird lines in it. And take a look now, y'all. I love how this turned out. It's so cute. It can be a riser, so you can just sit it on the table maybe and sit something on it, or you can hang it. It also has a little hanger on the back. Tell me what you guys think. I liked how it turned out. All right, let's move on to project number 4, y'all. I found this cute little kind of mid-century looking bread box at Goodwill, and it was red. And y'all, I like red. So this is going to be a very simple project. Not every project has to be a complete redo. So I kept it red. I am going to take the handle off of it, and now I'm just going to add a few transfers. These transfers that I'm using on this bread box are from IOD's Marquee des Fleurs transfer. I'm going to add one on the front, the sides, and the back. And I am just, the transfers love this shiny surface. So I'll just take my transfer, I'll lay it down part way so that I can get it adhered. And then I will just take my transfer stick. I'll start peeling up that vellum while I am pressing down, and these came off so easily, y'all. I love how it turned out, actually, and I didn't even have to paint it. I typically don't seal a non-porous surface, but I just decided to go ahead and take this one outside and do a light spray sealer on it just to seal in those transfers and make them last a little bit longer. right, y'all, let's take a quick look back at our already pretty little bread box. It just went from red to red with benefits. How about that? How cute did this turn out? Tell me what you think. Hey y'all, it's your girl Cassandra here with Pecan Porch Boutique. Thank you guys so much for always stopping in to check out what I'm doing on my channel. I really appreciate it. So y'all, as my video comes to an end, this is my 5th and final project, but probably going to be one of my favorites, y'all. Why? Because I love benches, and this is a bench, y'all. Not only is it just a bench, it's a bench that checks all the boxes. This little bench checked boxes I didn't even know I wanted checked. Let me show y'all what I'm talking about. How cute is it? It's in really good shape. It is on trolley wheels. Trolley wheels. It has these little latches down here. They don't really latch, but they're decorative. So cute. And these tufts, y'all. It has tufts all over. And not one tuft was missing. All of the tufts are there. Tufted. But if that wasn't enough, check it out. Yep. You're seeing that correctly. It has storage, y'all. Oh my gosh. I told you, it checked all the boxes that I didn't even know I wanted. And I love a bench, y'all. A big bench, a little bench, a round bench, a square bench, a bench. I just love benches. But if all of that wasn't enough, guess how much I paid? $30. I paid $30 for it in this little out-of-the-way antique shop that I happened to be passing by one day, and I thought, let me go in and look. Well, I saw this in the corner, and I thought, I wonder how much that is. So I asked. You always have to ask because you never know. And the lady said $30. I just about jumped in her lap and hugged her neck. And it was a mom and daughter, and they owned the shop, and they were so nice, y'all. They put it on the truck for me. Yep. I'm so excited about this. You can tell I'm very excited about this bench. So what's my plan? My plan is that I am going to paint it. I'm going to give it a facelift with DIY's Bohemian Blue. So if you want to see me do that, hang around. Let's get started. Let's get started, y'all. Project number 5, my 5th and final project, is this tufted bench on trolley wheels with storage that I only paid $30 for. Y'all can tell how excited I am about this. All right, I am going to be painting this bench, y'all, and I'm going to be using DIY's Bohemian Blue. I'm going to be taking this Bohemian Blue now. I'm going to be adding it. I'm going to add it to a cup that kind of has some measurement numbers, and I'm going to add it to water. So my goal here is to really water this paint down so that it doesn't just sit on the top of this fabric, but actually seeps down into the fibers. So I'm going to start out by doing a ratio of 1 part paint to 1 part water. So I'm going to mix them evenly. Now, you can add a little bit more water if you want to. I know, however, that DIY paint is so highly pigmented that I can pretty much add as much water as I want and I will not lose that color. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm mixing my Bohemian Blue with water. I'm stirring it really good. I'm going to be using 2 brushes. I'm going to brush it on with this soft bristle brush that you see me using here. And then I'll come back and I'll take that very hard bristle brush to really push it down into the fibers of this of this little bench. Again, the goal here is really not to paint the bench per se, but to dye the bench. I'm dyeing the fabric. So that is why I watered the paint down. So I'm just going to take my soft bristle brush now, and I'm just going to start painting, just like you see me doing here. I think all in all, I ended up doing 2 coats, which covered very, very nicely, y'all. I am just, again, painting it on here with my soft bristle brush, just painting and painting and painting. I have to say, though, that with these tufted areas, it was a little bit more tedious than when I got down to the areas that had no tufts. But I got it done. I also remembered to go in and lift up those little pleats so that I could get some paint inside of those as well. But I'm just continuing to paint this on here, and I am not even really paying any attention to getting a complete coverage on this particular first cover, because I just want to get the dye onto the fabric. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just continuing to paint every area, and then again I will go back and I will lift up those little pleats and I will get underneath that as well. All right, once I get kind of almost halfway through this first round, I'm going to take my mister bottle now and I'm going to go back over that. I'm going to mist it with water. I'm going to take my hard bristle brush and I'm going to start firmly pressing that paint that I've already put on further down into those fibers. That will help to not only distribute the paint that I put on, but it will also help just to get that paint further down into the fibers of the bench so that it's not so hard and crunchy on the top. Okay, so I have done 2 coats of the Bohemian Blue all over the bench. I've done the process of spritzing it and coming back with my hard bristle brush as well. And now I want to add, y'all know I could not help but to add something to this bottom. It was screaming for me to put something else down there. So I decided I was going to add some of IOD's sunflowers. Now I'm only going to stamp these up in using the white ink because I just kind of want it to look like, you know, just a little silhouette or something. I decided I did not want to do like the orange or anything too bold. So I'm just using IOD's white ink. I'm going to stamp up some various sunflowers, a couple of leaves, and I'm just going to press it down on this bottom part of the bench just to kind of give it, I just kind of want it to just be very soft, nothing too bold. Because this was fabric though, I did make sure to really ink up my ink pad really well and get a lot of ink on my stamp so that it would make a good impression, since it is going to be kind of sucked up by some of this fabric. Okay, y'all, it's almost time to take a look back. Once I got through stamping, I added some metallic wax paste in brass to all the tufts and all the hardware. I sealed this with a spray sealer, and y'all, it turned out so pretty. Take a look back. It was cute. I loved it because it was a bench with storage on trolley wheels. But take a look now. I think it looks so pretty. The painted, dyed fabric turned out really well. I did 2 coats, maybe 2.5 in some spots. But I love how this turned out, y'all. The silhouette sunflowers. Y'all tell me what you think. Tell me what your favorite project was. Thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, don't forget to bud, bloom, and be unique.